Okay, brace yourselves because this could be a long one. Do you like my crazy hair? I haven't combed it in like a week. I'll do that tomorrow. Um, Masking. It's a subject that's been on my mind a lot. It's a subject I would like to talk about. Um, it's a big topic in my life, in my brain, in my head right now. So, um, without naming any names, because I don't want to name names, but a celebrity with a sparkling personality unalived himself last week. I'm not gonna lie, I did not watch the show that he was regularly on. It just wasn't my thing. I did not watch the show that his wife was on, like completely out of my realm of interest, like daytime TV and or dancing competitions. Just not my vibe at all. But, I'm on social media. Like, I knew who he was. I knew who the wife was. I knew who the woman whose show he was on was. So I would see when, his dance videos would go viral or whatever. And I would see his jolly demeanor. And I'm not one of those people that automatically is like, oh, they look too happy. They're hiding something. Because, some people are somewhat happy. We'll say all the time happy or jolly, but some people are more adept at being jolly than others, and they're not always necessarily faking it. So I don't prejudge. But when this person unalived himself, it was very sad. And it was very sad because, anytime that situation happens, it's very sad. But there were children involved, and it seemed like he had had a very positive effect on a lot of people. So, what bothered me about the situation was a few days after it happened, I was doing as many of us do and clicking on various stories about seeing which celebrities had left what messages. I don't know why that matters, but we do it. And I happened to notice in the comment section of one of these posts that there was a large community of people who had made up some conspiracy theory that he had not unalived himself, that the circumstances didn't add up, that he was too happy, that there were no signs, that he had just made a video where he's smiling and dancing with his wife, and he went to a hotel room alone. And so none of those things add up to unaliving oneself. So obviously something unsavory must have happened. So there were various theories on that, from Tinder date gone wrong to drug deal gone wrong. And that made me very angry. Very angry. And not because he's a close personal friend of mine. Obviously, honestly, if he had walked down the street, I wouldn't have recognized him. I was so far removed from that world. But as a fellow masker, as a fellow person who hides the majority of her mental health issues for the comfort of others, it disturbs me that people would rather believe that this man was addicted to drugs or cheating on his wife than admit that he had mental health issues that were unaddressed or perhaps just overwhelmed the amount of help he was getting at that time. And it baffles me, and I'm mixed. I am half white, I am half black. My mother was black. My mother had a lot of mental health issues. I would not say more than me, but different than me. Um, and I think a large part of what happened with my mother was the stigma that goes with the black community, that mental health is not a thing that you just soldier through, that you just march through. We don't do that. What does that even mean? We don't do that. Okay. Yeah, sure. How's that working out for you? Check the statistics on unaliving oneself in the Black community. You'll find it's actually rather high. You know why? Because we don't do that. Because we don't get help. We don't address our issues. We don't go to therapy. We don't seek professional help. We make jokes about it. We ignore it. We, punch each other in the chest and say, get over it. And these are actual things that have happened to me. So, and it bothers me because it's just so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. Mental health is it's such a widely known issue now. It's not linked to a specific group of people anymore. It's not, stripping naked and running down the street or living in subway stations or under bridges anymore. Like, there's so much help available. There's so much help, and it affects everyone, everywhere, in every country, no matter what you have going on. Whether you think you do that or not, it's probably affecting you. Either it's affecting you or it's affecting someone you know or someone you love. So, for those who do not educate themselves on mental health, I figured I would do a little TED talk on what masking is. Masking is literally what it sounds like. You wear a mask. Why does one wear a mask? To hide things. Another popular celebrity was Robin Williams. And everyone was so shocked. And to be honest, a lot of times the funniest people you know, the jolliest people you know, are the saddest people that you will ever meet. And you probably don't know that unless you are at such a high level of friendship, that you've been privy to the breakdowns, the emotional crises, whatever. Because we wear a mask. We put it on when we leave the house, when we talk on the phone, when we text message. At work, they think I'm the friendliest, most outgoing person in the world. I smile and I put on a show. I literally, my whole job is doing presentations, like kind of training things. And so I get on these Zoom meetings or whatever, or I go in person and I put on a big smile and I do my presentation and everyone laughs and smiles back and says, "Oh, we can't wait for you to come back." And then I go to my office and I shut the door and I let out a big sigh and I remove the mask and then I sit there and recover until the next meeting because it's not real. That's not me. I can be funny. I'm a very funny person. I can be the funniest person you'll ever meet. I enjoy making people laugh. I enjoy feeding people. I enjoy hosting people. I enjoy making people happy. But the truth of the matter is, I have major depression. That's just it's my life. It's been my life since I was 10. And with that comes unexplained instances of just sadness and not like unmotivated. Everything could be going right in my life. I have a really good job. I have a really good living circumstance. I have a fairly decent relationship with my family. Like, things are good in general. But I'm still generally unhappy all the time. And it's not circumstantial or situational, it's chemical. And I'm on medication, I'm in therapy. I do all the things. I try to avoid, you know, refined sugars and all that stuff. And I don't drink caffeine anymore. And so, I do all these things to try and help, but it's a chemical imbalance. It's something I'll probably always live with. But do people want to hear about that on a daily basis? Do people want to look at me and think she's got a chemical imbalance? No, no, they don't. So I hide it. I hide it under this happy, jolly exterior. And then you think there's nothing wrong. So when something happens or when I go really, really low and I disappear, everyone gets worried. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with Veronica? What's going on? Because I hide it so well. And, that's just how it is. Sometimes it's too much to hide, so it just comes out. But stop saying there were no signs. Stop saying they were too happy. Stop saying they were just doing, hello, Ferguson. They were just doing such and such. They had prospects and projects coming up. Stop saying those things. What difference does that make? Do you know what was going on in their head? If you don't know what was going on in their head, then you do you know what I think when I hear the details that people are questioning? That he had prospects, that he was happy, that he was posting, that he was in a video dancing with his wife, and lastly, that he went to a hotel by himself. Do I think those things point to foul play, some hidden or covered up agenda by who? Like who do you think is doing this? Like who? Why? Why would anyone, like, please, people? I think he was trying really hard. He he was trying really hard. He was making plans, trying to focus on the future. He was trying to make sure that his family was happy, that his wife was happy and well taken care of, accommodating, that she wanted to make a TikTok. And lastly, and most importantly, the part about him being at the hotel by himself, that part makes the most sense of all to me. And that's the primary thing people were pointing to. Oh, it was so strange that he was at a hotel by himself. Imagine getting to the point where life no longer seems valuable enough to continue, but also loving your family enough to not want them to find you, to not have your children's home scarred by the memory that that was the place their father unalived himself. Imagine the extra trauma of losing a parent and also having to go to a hotel because your home is a crime scene. It made perfect sense to me that in a moment of overwhelming sadness or desperation or whatever was going through his head, we'll never know, that he chose to be selfless one last time and go somewhere that would least affect his family. But again, as someone who suffers with mental illness, maybe I can understand that a little bit more rather than those who, again, would rather think that the man was a drug addict or cheating on his wife, as many of the comments suggested, rather than think that he was just a man who needed more help than he could get that day. Because a masker is always one bad day or event away from it being too much. That's just the truth. So, I say all of this long, ridiculous rant to say, check on your jolly friends. Check on your friends who you call for a laugh. Check on your friends who always seem like they have their stuff together. You know why? Because they're probably putting on some sort of mask to make you more comfortable. Because they don't want your pity. They don't want your medication / lifestyle / diet suggestions. They don't want the awkwardness that sometimes comes when people who don't suffer as much or who don't suffer at all don't know what to say. So they fake it. And they're doing it for you. Also keep that in mind. They're doing it for you. they are expending an unimaginable amount of energy to make you comfortable, not them. So check on them. Don't make it awkward. Appreciate them. And most of all, take care of yourself. Because we all have mental health issues sometimes, whether they're chronic or acute. That's it. Have a good night.